All right, after this is patinaed, it'll be gorgeous. So I'll just go ahead and tie a few of these places now. You'll go through and, do yours. Tie it up the way you'd like. Add some decorative beads. If you need to, I want to move this little curl forward a little better. Okay. Lay the pendant down and kind of just with your fingers settle it. Make sure that it lays nice and flat. Very pretty. You could do some sanding also. Clean it up. Where the little fire marks were. That looks pretty good. Okay. Beautiful back. Drop me a comment. Let me know what you think. And you can continue to watch me if you'd like. I'm just going to add probably a couple of cute little ball beads in here and show you how that's done next. Or you can be done from here. So I've decided I want a little more wire on this to flare it out. So I think I'm going to show you how to do another add-on. I've got about 6 inches of 18 gauge, and you can use 20 gauge or whatever gauge you want, but this is just another piece of 18 gauge square soft. And what I want to do is probably do some wire out this way. So a couple things I have to figure out is how am I going to attach it to the back and bring it forward? And then what am I going to do with the ends once I get my design down? Where am I going to end those ends? So I think this one's on the fly, so I'm thinking a little bit about it. I think where I'm going to add it is right here. I have this little space. I have to attach it to this frame somehow, and I want to attach it to the lower part of the frame. So I gotta make a little space. So making sure that nothing in the front moves, I'm just going to bend this forward a little bit. Give myself some room to slip in there. So all I've done is I've pulled this out a little bit. And I've also pulled the wire next to it out a little bit, and that doesn't change anything in the front, just these little tiny pulls. But that gives me space to slip this wire in here. And I might have to put a little curve on it. To get it in there. Just slipping through the side. And that curve is just so I can pull on it and get it through. I'm going to take it through and center it. Might be a little bit tight. Just hold on to everything. Don't pull yourself out of shape. Okay? Oh, a little bit more. That's about in the middle. We're just lucky to have that space there. I'm just going to push the wire back tight against the frame. Make sure my spiral and nothing moved in the front. And so we just got lucky and had this little space right here. A lot of times you don't have this. Bend it back down. All right, that's pretty tight. So from there, I don't really need to do much except shape my wire. So first I'm going to bend them both up. So I've just bent these up into a U shape. I'm just going to squeeze them tight right there. They don't need to cross. I just wanted to get it kind of tight right there. Take a plier, squeeze them in, and that's good enough. That'll work. Okay, so I'm just going to hold it right there in place. Make sure that you're at the top. And I want to swing another cute little shoulder curve right there. The wire's still jiggly in the back, so just hold on to it for now. That's cute. I'll hold on to all that. And I'm going to swing this down, but I'm going to give it a little flare out this time. Something like that. I like that a lot. And I'll figure out where to end this little bit in the back. I might just tie it if I have to. But I want to hammer this. So I still got a lot of flexibility with motion here because nothing's going on. So I'm just going to bend it out so I can hammer that. Just like that. Okay, I love that. Everything is still pretty steady right here. Nothing's moved. If anything, I might just use my plier and turn this back under a little bit more even. Okay. All right. So I might just tie this ultimately back here somewhere to end it because I want to see this nice hammered wire right there. Okay, so while it's there, and I'm holding it out, let me just make this little flare outward. That's so cute. Yep, love that. So for now, I'm just going to turn this end up because it's going to be the easiest thing for me to tie this off to the back. Just hold your wire steady up here. Just make a nice, never do anything messy. Just leave it right there for right now. If this is too loosey-goosey for you, you could use, half round and tie this together a little bit. I'm just using my pliers and pinching these right here. Always holding on to this so it doesn't move. All right, so now I want to come way down here, figure out where I want this guy. I want him below this even. Or I could take him in between these two and then flare him out this way into the back. I think I'll do that. So I'm still holding everything real steady here because it can still all move. Just going to take this wire and create a little bend here. And I'll just tuck it into that space right there. That's super cute. And I'm just going to curve it around into the back. I always like to look at it from the front so I can see what's happening. So I'm just going to hold it real steady on both sides right here. And the wire's getting short, so I might take the plier to the end. Give myself a nice curve. Yeah, I like the way that kind of goes out like that. Love all that. All right, so I'm going to hammer this side too, with it nicely shaped the way I want it. I'm going to just bend it out, hold it right here, bend it out so you can reach it. Nothing's tied on yet. Okay, that's pretty good. And I'll hold it right here at the neck, put it back, take it to the back of my frame, put it elegantly into place. See these two? That's what we just did. So I might tighten this up right here by pushing down a little bit. And you'll just manipulate it with your hands. Get it to lay down where you want it. You want these little flares to show. So on this side, I'm going to make sure that my flare is out. I'll take the tip of this wire and I'll just curve it up. I don't like to cross those over, you know, because it just makes bulk. So I'm just gonna just like that. And then just like that. Tie them together right there. And I'll deal with those points. Okay, I love the way those two are coming down. And it just adds a little something, you know, a little finesse to the pendant. A little more detail up here. All right, so making sure that my little hammered areas show. And I'm going to flip it around here to the back and just use some half round. So I'm just fiddling these two bits in the back here and turning them inward so that they meet each other, but that I can still see these hammered areas. And if I wanted to add some ball beads, I might leave more gap right there to that side. So always check in the front to see what it looks like. And that's about right. I turned these a little bit inward, and then I kind of squared off these little edges. There's probably a more elegant way to do it, but this works. And then we'll tie to here as well. So I've got about 3 inches of half round, maybe 4 inches. And I'm just going to go through these 2 wires. And I'm going to leave myself, I didn't center it, I'm going to center to these 2 wires and leave myself some length at the top one here. I'll just make a couple of wraps. I'll make sure they don't crisscross. But I've got them nice and tight. If I feel like I need to attach this to the frame, I could always slip under one of these other ones. I do one more wrap for 3 of them. And then I think I am going to try to grab something here at the bottom just to make sure that, you know, this stays pushed forward. I could also use this one, which was my intention, and, you know, attach to this guy, and that'll be easier for all of us to keep these two flat against the frame. So I'll leave that guy for a second in case I need him. Because see how it jiggles? So we got to tie it somewhere because otherwise it moves. Make that nice and tight. Don't overdo it though. Do a little pinch. Give another little wrap. Go in between so you get a couple of them around just this one wire. And then you can go and grab both of them on this side. Don't pull your frame out while you're doing this. And just make it real nice and clean. That's probably enough. All right, that's pretty good. And I'm just going to take this little bit and I'm going to turn it down. Careful not to pull this too much, to pull on it, otherwise it pulls that side wire, but I just want to turn that tip down. I can still see my hammer, which is good. It feels pretty stable, so I'm not going to use this guy. Don't need too much wire. I will just make one little loop around this single frame. And I can cut it off right there. Turn that down. Okay. Then I might just cut this over here. Make it shorter and turn it down as well. Careful not to pull too on it because then it pulls this in. Just turn it. All right, that's pretty good. Okay, I like that so much better. So with my fingers, I'll just make sure that that wire is sitting on a nice line, just like that if you need to. And then I'll use my pliers. I can squeeze right here if I need to bring it in a little bit, but I think it's pretty solid. I can take it from the back, push up and turn. That's pretty cute. And then same over here. Take it from the back. Just turn it out slightly. It doesn't really need anything. Make sure that that's nice and elegant. There we go. Okay, so now with this, I can go ahead and add some beads and balls. I like those little bits, those added bits better. Turn this one out because I think I lost them a little bit. There we go. Now there's like 3 there. I love it. I hope you had fun. Keep watching if you want to know how to add the balls and bits, the little bead balls. Keep watching if you want to know how to add on the little balls. Otherwise, do your own thing. Enjoy. Thanks for being here. So I'm going to do some ties, add some texture and some beads to the front of this, and then be done. I think it's pretty good. So the first thing I'm going to take, I'm working with about 4 inches of half round. Just going to take and sneak it into this little area right here. And you don't have to do these wraps if you don't want to. You can do whatever you'd like. I'm just going to make 3 or 4 around all of these bands right here. Just to tighten them up. I'll do one more. If I can get my wire in there. There it goes. I just make a couple of wraps around this little single wire right here. Just that one will be enough to hold it. I always like to end on single frame wires with half round. If I can. Sometimes you can't. That's good. And this guy back here, I could probably just cinch up to one of these. I'm going to turn them, pull them real tight and turn them so the half round stays to the outside. And then maybe I'll just stretch them way over here because I kind of want something to hold these. So I'll just do that one. Make sure that's nice and tight and tucked in there. And I can stretch them across here. Just do one nice wrap there. You don't have to do 5 and 10 of them. You can just do a couple. or even just one like these. This half round is really strong. That's pretty good. That'll hold all that together and it's nice and neat. And that ties that together. It adds a little texture. And there's my Jolene. I might put something right here. I'll just take another couple of inches of half round. Sometimes you gotta turn that little end up. So that you can get it through. All right. I could do a few more if I want, but that's pretty tight. So I'll just trim it. Take that end and roll it down. Then I don't know, I might just clip it right there and lay it down. Turn it in between there. Just like that. I think I'm going to squeeze this a little bit more. This little curl is in the way of it laying down, so I'm going to try to shift it just a little bit. That's a little better. A little nicer lay on that. Those are all pretty stiff up there, so I don't need to do anything. So I'll take another little 3 inches of half round. I think I'm going to tie all these 2 wires down here, just for a little added something, but to make sure they don't lift. I don't think they ever will, but it doesn't hurt. I go 3 to the bottom. Should have given myself a little bit more here. Pull it nice and tight. Kind of don't like this last wrap the way it separates, so I'm going to gently take it out and just go around the single wire, I think. Right there. Hold that little guy down. I'm going to go one more time. I'll just curve it at the top. And just turn it under. That's good. I can take this other bit. And actually, it's in a pretty convenient spot. I might lap them around this guy a couple of times just to make a little added security on this back design. You don't need to pull real tight, and you don't need to have a lot. Just a few. And curl it under. That looks pretty neat in the front. That definitely assures that those aren't going to go anywhere. Okay, I like it so far. Push this guy back a little bit. So I'll show you how I like to add some beads sometimes without wrapping them to the front. I'm using about, I don't know, a couple inches of half round, enough to get through the frame. And I think I strategically want this guy maybe right, oh, I think he's too big, maybe right there. Yeah, I think right there. So rather than tying him onto these two, I'm going to make a little pin out of this half round, and I'm going to slip him through to the back, and I'm going to make sure that I catch something in the back. Like this is a good spot. So I'm going to aim for that little loop. There it is. Make sure that my ball will sit where I want it to, and it does. That's good right there. So I'm going to hold it in place, and I'll use these bits of half round in this frame and tie them on. The trick is to make sure that your ball is right up against the wires, otherwise you might have some slack. So I'm just going to use my plier, and it's a convenient spot right there, so I'm going to make a couple of laps around that. Get this all tightened up. Positioned where I can see it. You don't have to use that spot. You can use whatever spot is convenient to you and that doesn't look unattractive. And here's the other half of the wire. Make sure the ball is nice and tight. I could probably just use the same frame wire. Wrap it around this guy a couple of times. Make sure that first pull is nice and tight. just scroll that into there. Okay. So that's how that looks, and it's nice and tight. I might turn it so that that hole isn't right at the top. You can do that carefully. That's better. Alright, I'll just keep doing that and adding here and there as I want. I'm going to call it pretty good so far. I could tie that if I want. I could also use a bit of 24 gauge or some small wire. Actually, maybe I'll do that just to show it to you. This is a 24 gauge round. It's a pretty sturdy wire, but it's still pretty small. So I'll just clip some of it. If I wanted to do, say, a little line of beads, and I don't know that I do, but I'm just trying to show you how it would be done. Like maybe from here to here, I wanted a little line of beads in this crevice right here. I could use 24 gauge wire, slip in here somewhere, tie this off. The tip is a good place. If you can't get it through yours, maybe find some place, just along this bottom. I don't cut them off yet because you might want to hold on to it. Okay, so now this is kind of in between here. Just give myself a little bit of space. Be real careful. And I'm going to start with small ones and go up. So I'm using 1 millimeter to 5 millimeter, I think. So actually, I don't know if I'll start with a 1. Oh yeah, I have some 1 millimeters in here if I can get them. Okay, so these are 1 millimeter beads. Since there's a small crevice there, I'll probably just slip a couple of them in there. Yeah, the one end is always open, so you can change them. You won't be able to see those too much, but they take up some space. I'll go to a 3 millimeter. I can start to see that, but see it's pushed up against the other two beads so I don't lose it in the bottom. I'll probably put 2 of them there. The holes in these beads are pretty big. You could get them a little bit smaller, but I like to get them in bigger holes because then you can use thicker wire if you need to. So there's 2. I'm going to step up from 3 to 4. And I might put a couple of those on. I'm going to see what a 5mm bead looks like. I may not like all these. Oh, maybe I do. Okay, I do. So I've graduated up, 1mm. I think these are 3, 4, and 5. It might be 2, 3, and 4. Actually, I think that's more of what it is, 2, 3, and 4. And then I'm going to just go back down since I have the space. And you don't have to do 2 on each one. Oh, that one's too small. You can just do 1 because I want to fill just this little gap right here, so it might be too many to go 2. So I'll just do 1 and 1. So there's a 4mm. Here's a 3mm. I might just do the rest, 2. No, I'll put another 3mm on there. And then I'll put a couple of 1s. I wish I had 2.5. But I don't. All right, that looks pretty good. So there's a little gap right in between these 2 frame wires. And that should be about where my wire can slip through. I'm going to come down here to the wide spot, make it easy on myself. Slip it up here. And pull it through carefully so that your beads lay where you want them to. Perfect. And now I'm just going to use this wire and attach somewhere. I want them to stay pulled upright, so if I just tie them back onto this frame, they can slip. So what I need to do is tie them somewhere up here where they can't slip back, and just tuck this bare wire. So I think I can do that right here on this little curl. So I might take 1 lap or 2 around this frame just for decoration's sake and just to tie it off where it is. It's too tight for me to wrap all the way up this way. I'm doing it this way. So I'm going to make sure that there's no slack there. Don't pull your frame out like I almost did. I'll just use my plier. You don't need to pull tight. Just make sure all of these are up. Just go back and forth. Don't squeeze too tight or else you can snap your 24 gauge here. So that's pulled up. Now I'm going to make this wire tight. Probably just going to use this guy right here. Just this back frame wire. Keep everything pulled upright. I can snuggle that right there so it won't be seen. Then I can wrap a couple of times right around here. kink. That's attractive. It's okay if it slips a little bit up. Just make 2 or 3 little wraps or however many you think you want. Snip it right there. Turn that under. Okay, that's super cute. So come down here now and snip this guy off since we're all tied off down here. Snip it right there and I'll tuck it. Right in there. All right. This is the finally, I think, done version. I think I got some mixed up copper on here. These balls don't look quite right. That's okay. You get the idea. Okay. Maybe fill in 1 or 2 more, maybe not, whatever you want to do. Thanks for being here. Please hit that like button if you enjoyed this project and drop me a comment. Let me know how yours went, and I look forward to seeing you next time.